In August of 1979, a nameless terror began to haunt a tiny community in Bath. Bath is famous for its royal crescent, seen in many films and TV shows over the years, and at first glance it may seem that the area is made up entirely of grand buildings and historic monuments. But of course, as with all cities, the further out you travel, the less built up the area becomes. Brassknocker Hill is quite rural and has plenty of cover, shade, water and wildlife, perfect for a predator to make a decent living. A Mr. Ron Harper of Sunhouse Cottage reported to the Sunday Mirror that there is something in the woods that the animals do not like, and nor do I. A Mrs. Jean Blunt in the same area reported that she'd heard her cat screaming in the night and that it returned home with a huge gash right across its belly. Other owners were noticing that their pets would not go outside at night anymore, and that badgers and foxes that would usually be seen in the area appeared to have fled to safer climes, and the birds had stopped singing in the woods. A lonely goat, who happened to be tethered in a yard close to the woods, was found in a severely distressed state by its owner. Something had taken up residence in the woods and was attacking the local wildlife. Passers-by had begun to claim sightings of a strange grey monkey-like creature lurking in the gloom of the woods. The whole story began with the Harpers, who had noticed terrible damage to oak and ash trees on their property. They lived right on the edge of the woods in Sunhouse Cottage, which still stands today. Not only did they find the damaged trees, hear the barking and wailing of the creature, and note the sudden vanishing of local wildlife, but they found a sort of nest in a tall tree covered with thick ivy close to their property, too big to be the nest of a bird, and they'd never noticed it before. They also found footprints on the roof of a small shed which housed their goat. The roof was made of polythene and had some cat prints on it already, but these new footprints showed an animal heavier than a cat, but one that cannot be too large, otherwise it would have fallen right through the roof and torn it to pieces. Mr. Harper is quoted as saying, "It can't have been quite as large as a gibbon, therefore." Having gone through several reference books, Mr. Harper determined that it could in fact be some sort of half-monkey, stating that it is monkey-like in appearance and has a bushy tail. The creature had shown no appetite in the fruit in their garden, nor in the nearby orchards. With things escalating, and following a report from a taxi driver named John Elphinston, the local police mounted a hunt for what had been described by John as a chimpanzee-like animal standing on the pavement. A PC Christopher Downs rushed to the scene of the report and saw the monkey-like creature disappearing into the trees. John was not the only person to have a close encounter with the Beast of Brassknocker Hill. A Mr. Alan Heslop claimed that he had in fact grabbed hold of this creature, which looked like some sort of ape, but it had managed to escape. An expert in primates from the International Primate Protection League spent an hour looking for evidence of the creature at this time, but didn't manage to find anything significant. Despite the Primate Protection League's initial failure to find any evidence, a second investigation was actually performed in which they found evidence of half-eaten snakes, which, if we rule out the possibility of it having been dropped by a bird, would apparently rule out the chimpanzee theory, but would bolster the baboon theory. The tale generated a lot of interest, and the owner of the woods, Mr. Michael Farrant, had to state emphatically in the press that people should not come onto his land looking for the creature, and that if they did come into contact with it, it must under no circumstances be harmed. But if it turns out to be dangerous, then he would have to reconsider what to do. The strange creature's possible identity was put forward by naturalist and TV presenter Johnny Morris of Animal Magic fame. He thought that the creature was almost certainly a baboon, stating that the repeated act of stripping bark from trees is precisely what baboons do. The creature had also been reported barking like a mad dog, apparently another trait of the baboon. Johnny hadn't seen the damage with his own eyes, however, and had only come to this conclusion based on reports, but he was willing to bet £5 that it was definitely a baboon and therefore would be incredibly difficult to catch. But what exactly was this creature? Various opinions had been put forward, including a chimpanzee-like animal, a strange grey ape, an ape-like creature, a baboon. A Mrs. Lawless believed that the creature might be a spectacled bear, since two men who had seen the beast claimed that it had pale rings around its eyes and moved with a shambling gait. The vet who examined the cat that had suffered the attack, in which a huge claw had slashed at its belly, was unable to identify the potential attacker. A local naturalist in the area stated that it might just be a vixen or a roe, and laughed at Mr. Harper's suggestion that it might in fact be an aye-aye, claiming that it's a ridiculous notion to think it would be the aye-aye, a lemur that's about 2 feet long. Others had suggested UFO connections, and others still had put forward the suggestion that this might be some sort of witch living in the woods. Mr. Cyril Rosen, a monkey expert from London, suggested that the whole thing might just be a hoax. And then, of course, the lunatics began to get interested, with one poor couple, a Mr. and Mrs. Green, getting prank phone calls and threats, following Mr. Green's public announcement that he was looking to find and shoot the creature. One man even banged on their window one dark night and began jumping up and down and screeching, obviously mimicking a monkey, for the laughs. There seem to have been no further reports in the press after 1979, nothing which suggests any sort of capture was made, no follow-up on the police response, and no more sightings. That is until 1982, when the Western Daily Press, a Mr. Bruce Parfitt, reported seeing a strange creature on the prowl in woodland near Bathford and Shockerwick. He saw a shaggy-coated, cream and brown-coloured animal which he believed to be linked to the Beast of Brassknocker Hill sightings. However, this creature was only 30 inches long, with 4-inch legs. This was written off as probably just being a polecat, or something similar. In 1984, another potential sighting was reported, which eventually turned out to be an escaped pet llama. What could the Beast of Brassknocker Hill have been? It was never captured. Was it some sort of escaped animal, and if so, why so many different descriptions? A monkey and a bear are hardly similar. Even a chimpanzee, a baboon and a gibbon are very different and easy to tell apart. The general monkey theory seems to be the more prevalent. What do you think this might have been? You let me know in the comments. Let me know any stories that you would like to have covered on this channel. Hit the like button please, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Share this video with your friends and all that good YouTube stuff. Bye for now.